I'm glad you just checked out this video because you're interested in starting the Lohilo workout yourself. I'm going to talk you through everything that we're going to go through. This is all 6 days together, so yes, it's a long video, but what you can do is watch the day that you're going to hit on the day that you're going to hit it, so you can just watch it in parts. That's how I've designed this video. So anyways, on a chest day, I'll often start with an incline dumbbell bench and immediately superset it with an incline bench machine like this one. If you don't have the exact exercise equipment that I have, you can always substitute it for something similar to it, right? Obviously, these are just compound exercises, so anything that's compound, meaning using more than one muscle, is okay to do. After I do those for 3 sets, I move on to decline barbell bench, and then I'll be supersetting this after I'm completed with it with a decline bench machine. Now, supersetting means that you just go from one to the next one and immediately start the exercise. Then you rest after the second exercise for 30 to 60 seconds. Then you start your next set. Then I'll go to flies, and I'll either use dumbbells or I'll use the machine here. And I believe since this is the last exercise for chest, I will superset this with dips and plate raises. Yes. So now I'm doing dips. This is just body weight because I'm trying to go for higher reps. And then I move over here and start doing front raises just to start the exercises for my front delts. Start the workout for my front delts essentially. After this, I move on to Arnold or shoulder presses. You can do either one. And this is going to be a front deltoid and sort of middle deltoid exercise. And right after I do this, I'm going to superset with sideways lateral plate raises. Now, I really like these. You just use 10-pound weights and you just really control the movement. Just go nice and slow up and nice and slow down. You're going to feel the middle of your deltoid just pump. And yes, this works the middle head of your deltoid. Now I move on to reverse flies, and you can do this with the dumbbells or you can do this with the machine. I really like the machine because you can really pack on weight and just target your rear delts. You don't have to worry about anchoring your back or anything like that. You can just pump it out. It's really good. So then I'll superset this because that was the beginning of my rear delt exercises and the end of my middle delt exercises. So I'm supersetting the two. And so this is a lateral raise machine. You could also do this with dumbbells or whatever you have, kettlebells. Now I'm moving on to a dumbbell or a machine shrug. This one particularly is a hammer strength shrug machine. And since this is the beginning of my traps and I still have one more exercise for my rear delts, I'll be supersetting this with face pulls on the cables. And with this one, you want to keep your elbows high, at least with your shoulders or higher, and you want to pull the rope to the bridge of your nose. This is going to activate the rear delts instead of other muscles that you don't want to use. Day 2 is back, bi, and tries. I often start with cable lat pull downs. It's a good compound to start with. You always want to start with some big compounds, and I feel like this one really fires up the lats. So once you complete this one, you're going to superset this with another compound. For this one in particular, I used cable seated row. And once again, you're aiming for 12 to 16 on the first set, and then when you're supersetting, you want to aim for 8 to 12. Then you're going to go on to your next compound. For this one, I'm using isolateral machine rows. I like this machine because you can pack the weight on once again and really hit it hard. And I'm going to superset this with a low row machine. And like I said before, you can use any compound you want. You could do dumbbell rows or barbell bent over rows or Yates rows or really anything that you want. And after this, I'm going to move on to pull-ups, and you'll see that my form is it doesn't look right, but it actually is. I don't go to full extension because I want to keep the lats tense and tight, and I don't want to use my biceps on the pull-up. You're going to superset that though with bicep curls, with dumbbell hammer curls. And this is going to be the beginning of your bicep workout, and that's going to be the end of your pull-up, your lat workout. Then you're going to move on to preacher barbell curl. For this, you're aiming for 12 to 16 again, so you're going to use something light, and you want to make sure that you're coming almost to full extension so your biceps are getting a nice full pump. I like to superset this with, you'll be surprised by this, 10-pound plate curls. You think it looks pretty easy, right? But if you keep your elbows locked into your side, really squeeze your bicep and contract it, you'll find out that this is actually a very difficult exercise to do. Then once again, I'll superset that with dumbbell preacher curls, and with this you want to make sure you're getting a pretty full extension. And once you start to fail, I like to turn my hand and make it a hammer preacher curl, which just lets you bump out a couple more reps. Then you're moving on to triceps. This is an overhead dumbbell tricep extension. You can use a chair or you can do this standing. I like to use a chair for the back support. And you're aiming for 12 to 16. You want to keep your elbows in close to your head, and you want to keep your elbows from moving back and forth. Then I'm going to immediately superset that with skull crushers with the barbell. Once again, keeping your elbows locked in and not letting them move back and forth. Really squeezing your tricep at the top of the movement and then letting it come down slowly. Then we're going to move on and we're going to go to reverse two-hand cable pull downs or push downs. And reverse just means that your hands are supinated, they're facing up towards you. Then immediately after you fail on that, you turn your hands down, and this is going to make the exercise easier, so you should be able to bump out a couple more reps. Day 3 is leg day. I often start with barbell squats or deadlifts or lunges just because they're big, strong compounds that are just going to fire up all the muscles in your legs. So you hit your first set, maybe a 30 to 60 second rest, hit your next set. Keep it moving quickly. That's the key to these first 3 days, is you got to move everything quickly. If you don't move quickly, you're not going to get it all done in an hour, and you're just going to be wasting your time in your workout. Immediately after doing squats, move on to another compound, either leg press, lunges, dumbbell sumo squats, whatever you want to do. For this one in particular, I did dumbbell sumo squats, and you want to just keep the dumbbell right under your tailbone, and have a really wide stance. And this is really going to pump your quads. Then I move on to leg extension machine. For this one in particular, you can see that my form isn't that great because my legs were just about dead here. But that's good, that's what you want. You want to give your muscles a final isolation pump and just get as much blood into your quads and hamstrings as possible. So you get 2 to 3 sets of leg extensions and 2 to 3 sets of hamstring curls. Now, whatever amount of time you have left in this workout, you want to spend doing as many sets of calves as you can on a standing, seated, or a leg press calf machine. Make sure that you're getting full range of motion and don't bounce. Day 4, now we're moving on to strength. This is strength, chest, and shoulders day. I always start with a compound, and if my rotator cuff's feeling up to it, I like to start with barbell bench. This in particular was a pretty good PR for me. That was 275 pounds for 4 reps, coming down all the way to the chest. Felt really good. Usually I can't do that because of my rotator cuff, so I was pretty excited about that. Then I'll move on to another heavy compound just to keep the weights moving, and this is a decline bench machine. And you want to just load it up as much as possible while still being able to use full range of motion. The point here is just to use as much weight as possible. It's going to help you create motor units. Basically, just going to help you push harder next time. After that, you're going to do one more compound. In particular, I like doing weighted dumbbell dips. The angle of this makes it look like I'm not doing the right form. I really am coming to depth, but yeah. So then you move on from chest to your middle deltoids, or really any deltoid you want to start with. And you're going to do strength, so you want to aim for 5 to 8 reps on this. That's why I'm going real heavy on it. Then you're going to move on to the next deltoid head. This is rear deltoids, and I'm using as much weight as I can possibly handle while keeping the form relatively good. It's a little loose there, but you can see I'm hitting the rear delts pretty well. And then I'm going to move on to front deltoids. So this would be overhead pressing of any type is going to hit your front delts. And you'll see I'm doing one exercise, not 2 or 3, and it's because it's a strength day. You just want to do one exercise for each of the deltoid heads and just hit it hard as you can for 2 to 3 sets. Finally, I always finish out with traps, and I go between the hammer strength shrug machine and assisted barbell shrugs. Day 5, strength, back, bi, and tri. Probably my favorite day. So load up the machine as heavy as you can go, as long as you're keeping the form relatively good and you're not swaying your back too much or cheating too much, then you're good to go. You always want to move up from last week if you can keep the form good with, not break your form. You want to move up every week because that's how you're going to grow quick. So after I go seated cable row, I go on to isolateral row machine. I really like this one. You can see my form's a little bit off, but for the most part good. And then recently I've been enjoying doing weighted pull-ups, so what I'll do is I'll put a dumbbell in between my legs and just hold it there and do pull-ups like that. And I aim for about 4 to 5 reps. So this is 80 on there. I think I got 90 today. And yeah, it's a really good one. But only once you've built very, very good back strength originally. Then I'm going to move on to biceps. I like to do preacher barbell curls for biceps to build strength. You want to stop before your arm completely straightens out, but you want to get pretty close to it. If you let your arm completely straighten out, you're going to risk having a tendon tear and rupturing your biceps, so that's not good, right? So after barbell, I move on to dumbbell preacher curls. Like I've been saying, go real heavy. And then I like to go on to dumbbell hammer curls. And you see I'm using a lot of weight, but you see that my elbows are not moving much. They're staying in by my sides. If you're going to use heavy weight on a dumbbell curl, don't be one of those guys who's swinging the weights around, elbows flying out from the sides and stuff. Keep the form tight, please. You won't grow any faster by moving weights without the right form, but you will grow faster by using heavier weights with good form. Now we're moving on to triceps, and for this I like to do overhead dumbbell tri extensions. I actually generally keep the exercises the same for day 1 through 3 and day 4 through 6. I just change the weights up. And for me, I just feel like it helps make them both work synergistically. Anyways, after dumbbell overhead tri extension, move on to barbell skull crushers. And for both of those, you want to keep your elbows locked in close and not moving. Then we're going to move on to two-hand cable tri extensions or cable pushdowns. And the key for this one is to keep your elbows stuck by your side. Don't use your body to move it, and don't use momentum to move it. Day 6, last day, strength leg day. This is probably the hardest day that you will perform, but if you push yourself, you are going to grow so fast. This is barbell squats, and I'm aiming for 2 to 5 reps. If you go over that, don't worry. That's a good thing. That just means you're able to push the weight that you thought was heavy more than you thought you could. Just move the weight up on the next set. After doing that heavy compound, I like to do some other heavy compound that I can really pack weight on. And for this one, that is a leg press. And with leg press and squats, you want to make sure you're getting full depth. Please, full range of motion. Don't do a quarter squat. Make sure that your knees are coming all the way down to your chest, or your butt is coming down to your knees if you're doing squats. Full range of motion is the key to getting leg growth. Otherwise, you're just going to build big quads and you're going to hurt yourself. Then I move on to calf press, and it's really convenient on strength day because your calves can handle a lot of weight. You can just go to leg press, take a couple plates off of it, and raise it with your toes, and that'll hit your calves. Finally, you want to finish out with 3 to 4 sets of hamstring curls and leg extensions if you feel like your quads were not hit enough. And you're using the heaviest weight you can. For me, this is the full stack, I believe. It doesn't go any heavier, so I have to do it for about 10 reps. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this routine. I've put a lot of time and effort into it. I've put a lot of research into it, and I've tried to create something that hits your body in a different way than it's been hit before, and in a way that repeats muscles as often as possible so that you can maximize the growth in strength and in size. So let me know how you guys like it once you've tried it for a few weeks. If you have any questions, once again, just let me know and I'll get on it and I'll help you through it. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy this. Stay safe, hit it hard, and grow as fast as possible. Thanks, guys.